He walked into the CEO's office with shaking hands, a faded, worn envelope pressed tightly against his chest. His heart hammered, a frantic drumbeat against his ribs. "My father. He wanted you to have this," the young man managed to whisper, his voice barely audible in the vast, intimidating space. The CEO, a man accustomed to commanding boardrooms and navigating billion-dollar deals, looked up from his polished mahogany desk, his expression a mixture of confusion and impatience. "Your father?" he asked, the question hanging in the air. The young man swallowed, nodding. "The janitor you barely noticed." "Mr. Halley." A heavy silence descended upon the room, thick and suffocating. The CEO's brow furrowed. He tried to place the name, searching through a mental Rolodex of thousands of employees, but came up empty. He saw janitors every day, a blur of uniforms in the periphery of his busy life, but a specific face, a name, he couldn't recall. He took the envelope from the young man's trembling hand. It felt light, almost insignificant, yet it carried an unexpected weight. With a slow, deliberate movement, the CEO broke the seal and unfolded the single sheet of paper inside. The handwriting was neat but labored, the ink slightly faded. He began to read, and the words on the page seemed to rearrange the very air he was breathing. "Sir," the letter began, "I know men like me rarely get the chance to reach men like you. We live in different worlds, even under the same roof. But I needed to write this. I wanted to thank you." The CEO paused, expecting a request, a complaint, some long-held grievance. He was wrong. The letter continued, "Not for a promotion I never got, not for a raise I probably needed, but for something you've long forgotten. I want to thank you for the day you stopped by the third-floor break room, saw me sitting alone and told me that I mattered." The CEO's eyes, which had scanned countless contracts and financial reports, began to tremble. He searched his memory, desperately trying to conjure the moment. A break room, a conversation? Nothing came to mind. It was a blank. The son, seeing the confusion on the CEO's face, continued, his own voice breaking with emotion. He carried that moment with him for years, for the rest of his life, actually. He told me about it so many times. He said it was the first time someone in a position of power, someone so important, ever saw him, truly saw him as a person, not just as the man who cleans the floors. The CEO swallowed hard, a lump forming in his throat. He looked from the letter to the young man, his world tilting on its axis. I honestly don't remember saying anything special," he admitted, his voice now as quiet as the young man's had been. The son shook his head, a small, sad smile touching his lips. "That's the point, sir. That's the entire point. You didn't think it mattered. It was probably just a fleeting comment to you, a throwaway line in a busy day. But to him, it changed his entire life. He was struggling, feeling invisible, feeling like his life's work meant nothing. And in that one moment, you gave him his dignity back. You saved him, and you didn't even know you were doing it." The CEO's gaze fell back to the letter in his hand, the simple words now burning with a profound intensity. He had built an empire of concrete and steel, of profit margins and market shares. He had given speeches to thousands, his words moving markets and shaping industries. He thought he knew the measure of his impact, charted in stock prices and annual reports. But this letter, this was a different kind of balance sheet. One that measured the currency of kindness, the dividends of a single, forgotten moment of human connection. He had been so focused on building a legacy he could see, he had completely missed the invisible one he was building in the hearts of people like Mr. Halley. The young man took a deep, steadying breath. "My dad wasn't a rich man. He couldn't leave me stocks or property, but he left me that story. He taught me that your value isn't determined by your job title, but by the light you bring to others. He made me promise that if I ever had the chance, I would tell you what your simple act of kindness meant to him." The CEO looked at the young man, truly seeing him now not as an interruption, but as a messenger, a living testament to a legacy he never knew he had. He saw the father in the son's eyes, the same quiet dignity, the same profound understanding of what truly matters. He realized the truth, a truth so simple and yet so powerful it shook him to his core. Sometimes the smallest kindness, the most casual word of encouragement, doesn't just fade away. It finds a home. It sits quietly in someone's heart, a warm and steady flame, nurturing them through dark times. And then years later, when you least expect it, it returns to you. It comes back as a gift you never knew you gave, a reminder of the good you put into the world without even trying. And in that quiet, sunlit office, surrounded by the trappings of his success, the CEO finally wept. He didn't cry out of guilt for not remembering, or out of pity for the man he had overlooked. You never know whose life you might change with a small act of kindness. Remember to subscribe for more stories that inspire.